Free Inquiry Editor Wanted by Ronald A. Lindsay, from Free Inquiry's online column, Unprayerful Reflections at secularhumanism.org. Let me get right to the point. Free Inquiry is looking for a new editor to begin on or about September 1st, 2026, although an earlier start might be negotiated. And yes, I am the current editor of Free Inquiry, so why am I advertising for my replacement? Let me make clear at the outset that this is not due to any conflict with the management of the Center for Inquiry, CFI, or any dissatisfaction with my work. A little history. Readers of Free Inquiry will recall that Tom Flynn, the longtime editor of Free Inquiry, died suddenly in August 2021. Paul Fidalgo became the new editor in 2022, but he also departed unexpectedly, although while alive in the spring of 2024. Andrea Solansky, for many years the managing editor of Free Inquiry, came out of retirement and, selflessly and expertly, took the wheel on an interim basis after both sudden departures. This brings us to me. The Center for Inquiry, for obvious reasons, wanted some stability in the position. On the other hand, in my 70s and effectively retired, I wasn't eager for an open-ended commitment. The result, we agreed I would become editor with a 2-year commitment. That commitment ends in September. Okay, that's the background. What does Free Inquiry need in its editor? The official job description can be found here. centerforinquiry.org/employment/free-inquiry-editor. But let me add my own perspective on this position. In my view, the most essential quality for being a good editor is being a good writer. One cannot make decisions on which submissions are publishable unless one can recognize good writing, and that expertise is best earned by being a good writer oneself. In terms of education, a graduate degree in philosophy, history, or one of the sciences would be helpful. But more important is wide-ranging general knowledge. The editor is the gatekeeper for what gets published in the magazine. And if the magazine is going to maintain its reputation, it cannot be publishing embarrassingly false claims. Sure, nowadays one can use AI to check on some assertions in a submission, but to bother to check AI, one must first be able to recognize something that smells off. 2 examples. A submission contained the assertion that the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, demeaned human nature by adopting the doctrine of original sin. Does Islam have a concept of original sin? No, in case you're wondering. Another submission attributed to Joel Osteen a series of brags about his wealth, citing an article as reference. Osteen is wealthy, but overt gloating about his wealth seemed to me something he would likely avoid. Checking the reference, I found it was a piece of satire. More examples could be given, but my point is that unless you are confident you can spot egregiously erroneous claims, please do not bother applying. Finally, the editor should understand that secular humanism is not a set of dogmas, and that one hallmark of the magazine is that its name embodies its commitment. Of course, some content in every issue critiques religion or discusses the challenges and the benefits of living without religion. But Free Inquiry is principally a forum for presenting well-argued, contrasting views on issues of interest to humanists. And given our wide-ranging interests, that covers a lot of ground. The editor must be willing to publish views with which the editor disagrees. I can safely say that in each issue I have edited, there has been at least one article with which I disagreed in whole or in part. My criterion for publication is not what the author advocates, but whether the author makes a good case for their position. Still interested? Then submit a cover letter discussing your background and interest, and a resume and CV to careerseditor@centerforinquiry.org. There is no deadline for application, but to receive full consideration, I suggest applications be submitted by the end of April. 2 final notes. The person hired will also become the executive director of the Council for Secular Humanism, and this position can be performed remotely or at the Amherst, New York headquarters of the Center for Inquiry, or at its offices in Los Angeles.